I want you to think of an estimate of how many players Mineplex consistently has. Have you got it? Good. You probably thought it was in the thousands, didn't you? No? Maybe 5 or 6,000, right? Well, if you guessed anything in that range, you would be very far off. Mineplex currently has 400 to 500 people online, which is a 98.84% decrease from its peak of 43,033 in 2015. Hello everybody, my name is KurtBroG, and today I'll be telling you the story of how one of the largest Minecraft servers in history has been reduced to a husk of its community, why this happened, and what they can do to fix it. But before we begin, I just want to say thank you to my channel members who you can see on screen now. I appreciate and thank every single one of you. But with that said, let's get started with the video. Mineplex was founded on January 24th, 2013 by Gregory Bylas and Spudgel, known in-game as Sterling and Spew, and is among the oldest servers that are still up and running to this day. It steadily grew until the YouTuber Captain Sparkles became part of the ownership team in December of 2013, alongside him making videos on the server. Between 2013 and 2015, Mineplex would see its most active period in terms of player activity and server development, with 80 content updates featuring several new games and maps, which kept their player count consistently in the low to mid 10,000s. Since then, the player count has slowly but surely dropped from the several thousands to a little bit below 500. This could be because of several factors, the first of which being this was a period in Minecraft's history between 2014 to 2017 where the popularity of the game drastically went down, to a point where some were calling it a dead game, and the community was essentially non-existent. This was due to a lack of updates with the main game, and just general gameplay being boring and uninteresting, with the most recent update being 1.9, which is considered one of Minecraft's most controversial updates ever. Because of this, servers became the main place for players to enjoy the various minigames they offered. Servers noticed this and churned out update after update with new games to make their server the place to be. Let's take Hypixel for example. During this period, 2014 to 2017, Hypixel released 14 new standalone games. That does not include their arcade games, which includes some of their biggest games such as Skywars, Bed Wars and Build Battle. In comparison, Mineplex released 7. Most of its releases were based on their mixed arcade, with very little standalone games launched. This severely impacted their rate of growth, and they did not spend time on keeping the community, which leads us on to the next point. It's July 2016, and Mineplex are preparing to launch their server on the rising Windows 10 edition, later known to be Bedrock edition. Their Java server is slowly declining in popularity, mainly due to efforts being focused on the Bedrock server. This obviously means a lack of high content updates and general updates being rare. After their Bedrock server launched, the Java team slowly shifted to Bedrock development, starting with around 350 staff members in 2016 to 129 in 2021. Obviously, less staff members means less updates, which means less content, which ultimately means less overall players. Speaking of their updates, that does lead us on to our final point about the server itself. Mineplex was still updating the server with the new games, but every time without fail, their new game would either be extremely repetitive or riddled with bugs. Now, instead of doing something about this, they, did absolutely nothing. That's right, they simply left it as it was at release, very rarely adding more or fixing bugs. They thought they did enough by just giving the community an unpolished game, and on top of this, people who knew how to exploit these bugs became more and more common. This essentially made every game on Mineplex a competition to see who had the best hack client or who could cheat the fastest. This on its own may sound bad, but what they did to fix it was even worse. What do you think they did? Did they get a better anti-cheat? Did they actively ban the people exploiting the bugs? Did they actually fix the games? Well, no. They instead decided to remove games that had any game-breaking bugs. This included fan favourites such as bridges. Their reasoning for this was that they would have more time to update other aspects of the server, which obviously never happened. This made most of the player base unhappy, which is completely understandable. Sadly, the reasons don't stop there, with controversy happening in the forums and the community too. This leads us on to our final point of the video. This one's going to be a long one, so get ready. A couple of years ago, there was a user called Nothinbutnet who created a Discord server to talk about Mineplex as a server, with it not being in any way hateful. It was just a place for people who played on Mineplex to talk about what they were doing on it. Sounds perfectly fine, right? Well, the staff team didn't think so, and they banned every single member on that Discord server from going on Mineplex permanently. There was even a senior moderator on said server who messaged the owner after this incident about what he thought the server could fix to make it better. The owner then proceeded to tell this senior moderator that he knew nothing about the server, and then removed him from the staff team permanently. All because the owner didn't want to change anything about his server. If this was an isolated case, then it would be less severe. Maybe the owner was having a bad day and needed to let his anger out. Maybe the senior moderator was rude to him before and this was the final straw. If that was the case, I probably wouldn't be making this video. But for years now, the staff team have constantly been patrolling the server forums, removing any post that brings up any issues about the server, and sometimes going so far as to ban these posters from the server, all because they wanted to give constructive criticism. Some of the things that are brought up are genuinely serious problems and do need to be fixed, but I'll leave you to find that out for yourself as I can't really cover it on YouTube. You might be thinking, surely they could just contact the forum managers to get their post back up. Well, they've already tried. Several times. Mineplex will silence any criticism of their server to a point where they think that their server is perfect, when in reality it's a vicious cycle of a new update coming out, people pointing out the problems with the update, the staff team banning those people who tried to give feedback, and then no one says anything about the problems as they don't want to be banned, and then they wonder why no one plays their server. It is truly an awful cycle and it needs to be stopped. It is honestly sad how Mineplex fell from being possibly the largest server in Minecraft to it being a shell of a community, riddled with hackers and corrupt staff members. I used to play Mineplex all the time and it was probably my main server until 2016, when I lost access to Java Edition for a while due to not having a computer. I feel that it could have done so much more to keep itself alive, when in actual fact it was killing itself from the inside. The owner refused to change, to innovate, and to listen to anybody. I think if the owner and the staff team as a whole actually went with the community, they would have survived. The future for Mineplex is looking very bleak, and I doubt they will ever recover from their fall from grace. It's a shame, but it's the truth. They kind of passed the point of no return. They don't really have any chance to save themselves. But this has been KurtBroG. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, share this with your friends, and as always, keep on gaming and stay safe. I will see you all soon.